All right, we have a very special guest with us today. It is the second time on the podcast for her, although the first was back in 2020. It was episode 23 of the lineup, and it was a radically different world. We were in lockdown. She was at home in Reunion Island. It was a great conversation, but a lot has changed since then. Since 2020, she made two back-to-back WSL Finals appearances, once in 2021, where she landed a fourth place finish, and then again in 2022, when she faced a rampaging Stephanie Gilmore and finished the year third in the world. This year, she is well on her way to another Finals Day appearance, ranked number 2 in the world as of recording, after a very impressive start to the year, landing an early season CT victory at the Mayo Rip Curl Pro Portugal, presented by Corona, and a second place finish at the recently completed Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach, presented by Bonzoy. Back-to-back finals. She's been competing on the championship tour for a decade as one of the most consistently high-performing surfers on the CT, with 6 CT victories and over 50 quarterfinal finishes or better. This year, she will also be competing for Olympic gold in Tahiti this summer and is one of the subjects of a surf documentary produced in partnership with Samsung, exploring the connection between surfers, the ocean, and the global community. We have Reunion Island's very own Johanne Defay with us on the lineup. Johanne, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for having me.
Now, they tell me that this episode is going to air in early May. We're recording in early April, but let's get a scene set. Where are you today, and what have you been up to?
Okay, so I just arrived in Margaret River for stop number 5. I've taken like 48 hours in Bells Beach after the finals and stuff to kind of relax and enjoy the family where I was staying, and just ready to go now in Margaret. It's been sunny. It's been great.
Now, as we said, you've been on tour for several years, and interestingly enough, this wasn't related to one of the questions that we were asked to ask you, but we were asked, Mitch Salazar, my co-host, and I, why people tend to overlook you as a world title contender. And I said, look, there's absolutely no reason people should, aside from she comes from a non-traditional place that produces women's world champions. But every part of her surfing, she's strong, she's stylish, her forehand, her backhand, tubes. She is the entire package. And I think we've all been seeing that come together this season for you. You've been on fire. And this is after a 2023 season where you started out with an injury, you worked your way back into it, but radically different this year compared to last year. Is that fair?
Yeah, completely fair. It is last year. I mean, you've said I'm like a pretty consistent surfer, I guess. And last year was really weird for me. It's the first time I've ever been injured. I've never missed one single CT event since I've started before that. So it was really weird to be away, especially for the beginning of the year. And then the cut, like now we have only 5 events to be kind of ready to be like, in a row. And so I came back a little bit early too, for my injury, but I wanted to be sure for like the Olympic spot and stuff like that. So I kind of knew also, because my injury was big, that I had the wild card. And I just kind of like had no pressure in some way. I wanted to, make a comeback from the injury, just like everybody, and, to feel strong. But at the same time, I was not like super into it. I've realized it, I was just happy to be home too. Even when I was injured, I was like, well, I might as well just enjoy that time home. Right. And then after on tour, I was like, oh, I should just enjoy, being a bit less stressed, and we'll see, sometimes when you're less stressed, you perform better. But then I've realized that I need to be a little bit stressed.
Well, go ahead. I was going to say, it sounds not dissimilar to, we were all forced to be at home, right? Last time we talked in 2020, you came back from that yes. and you had incredible seasons. And in a way, it's similar to last year where you got a bit of a mental break. You're able to enjoy being home. And now you've come back and you've had one of the best starts of your career.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I feel fresh to go into that season. I feel a little bit also just a bit more mature, a little bit more just with a step back in some way, being like, oh, it's just like things you live. So even now I've lived like the injury and then coming back and not making super great results, and like just like being comfortable with everything and not being performing so well, but you realize, okay, I'm great, I'm healthy, and you don't, it's just like, yeah, I think I just started this season with a step back, being like, whatever happens. What I really wanted, it was to perform, because last year that's what I didn't enjoy. I didn't perform strategically, technically. I couldn't show what I was capable of, and that was a bit frustrating. And that's really what I've been focusing this year on, and so far so good.
Now, we mentioned that you're still so young, but you have been at the elite level of competition for 10 years, and the tour's been through quite a lot of changes. These changes were implemented after the 2020 off season, non-season, I should say. But the makeup of the calendar, it actually feels like it really suits your strength as a surfer, right? We start at Pipeline, then we go to Sunset Beach, Portugal, where you just had a fantastic victory this year, Bells Beach, where you finished runner-up. You're now in Margaret River. We've got Tahiti on the calendar. We've got Fiji on the calendar. It feels like your surfing, the tour is almost caught up to your type of surfing in a way. Do you feel like the venues on the calendar this year actually suit you better than at almost any other point in your career?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think I still have so much improvement to do in so many of those waves. Pipelines is so hard for women's, and for someone like me that live probably like 50 hours of travel away from Hawaii. Sure. And even if you go there and you're like, okay, I want to train, then it's really hard to catch wave. And I mean, all those things that we've been talking about it already. So it's definitely, but then every time I go there and we compete and we are only like 2 or 3 in the water and we have those 30 minutes. And that's also the mindset I'm trying to get when I'm there competing. I'm always like, well, anything you can get there is like improvement, learning. Right. And the more hits you make, the more learning you're going to get, So I think that day we had this year, like on a bigger day, clean, we could showcase so much. And my performance was not as great as Molly or Betty Lou, but it was just amazing to watch them and to be able to see that I could be in the water, I could catch those waves, and it's like little things that make clicks and improvements. So, but anyway, pipe is another subject, but the calendar it's definitely hard, especially for the first half of the year. I think those waves like Sunset and Peniche, and it's a lot of like what the forecast is going to give you. And in Peniche we had some left, which was good for me. I wish we could have a better like ripping left at the first stop of the year. Like if Fiji was before the cut, I would love it. So there's definitely things that I would think could suit me even better. But I'm super happy to actually make, great results beside the waves that I think are really challenging. And that's also something I've been learning, sometimes you just have to deal with what you got and just make the most of it. And that's also how you see how champions are made of, like you have to adapt yourself and you have to find this way of like performing and surfing your best in any places.
It's actually a really good point that you make about Pipeline. I think it was actually this year's event winner, Katie Simmers, who said every heat out there is like 6 months of free surfs in terms of just how hard it is to get waves when you're out there with the pack. And she was saying, look, like that's a huge benefit when you're competing out at pipe, because you're just out there with one other person. You're getting so many reps. You're seeing the wave in a different way. Are there other waves on tour that are similar to that, where you go, yeah, geez, if I want to get good out here, sometimes it actually is the trial by fire scenario of having a heat out there, because at least that way I'll have opportunity to get reps in.
Yeah. Well, I think pipe is like the main event like this, because the crowd and it's like Teahupo'o could be the same, but it's not as crowded for sure. So I feel like we can get much more reps in Teahupo'o to train and to feel comfortable out there. Pipe is very specific, I think, of the crowd and how hard it is to get waves there. And yeah, I really had, I mean, it's, in like my competition mind, I'm really had to choose, okay, well, I'm not going to go train. This is what I'm choosing. I'm going to arrive just 5 days before pipeline, and it's okay. It's okay. You're not going to get reps, and you might not, like, I probably catch one wave before this pipeline event this year. Because I arrived, it was too big. I was like, I don't think I can do it. And then, just the fact, so I surfed Haliva for a while. And then for 2 days, it was kind of like a bit smaller. And then I went in, and then I couldn't catch a wave. I caught one before dark one day. And then same, you go in the free surf in the morning, you're like, I know, I probably can't catch a wave, but it's okay. You're out there, you kind of see, you're feeling the wave. And so it's really also like putting a challenge of like the confidence challenge really is hard there, but it's just strategy. It was like even if I go 3 weeks before, I probably won't catch that many waves anyway, and it costs me a lot of money and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna trust myself.
Sure.
And we'll see.
I know we talked about this on the last time we spoke on the podcast. We've spoken between then, of course, but you are such a rare figure at the elite level of surfing. We talked about it a little bit earlier in this episode where, Mitch Salazar and myself, by the time this episode airs, that episode would have aired, but we were saying the only reason why people don't often put Johanne Defay in the world title conversation is geography bias, because you came from a non-traditional place in Reunion Island in terms of producing women's world champions. That in and of itself is rare. You didn't have the same type of support. But I think what's amazing about you is that based on the strength of your surfing and your achievements, as it stands in 2024, you're actually one of the more marquee surf industry sponsored surfers on tour. You are, they're proud to sponsor you. O'Neill, Reef, Dakine, SharpEye surfboards. These are premium surf brands that you are now an important part of their teams. Did you think that would have happened to you 10 years ago? Did you think, oh, well, maybe I'm not getting supported by the industry now, but in 10 years time, I will be?
I don't think I was thinking of that. I was like, but I've definitely, I don't know. I was just focusing, I guess, on, my surfing. And I think how can I say? I don't know. It's just work is paying at some point, it's just it. And I think also, and what I can realize now is like in business, because sport is sport, but sport is supported by business. So at the end of the day, it's business.
Sure.
And there is like circumstances. And sometimes I was just not, like Europe may, not be as interesting before, or maybe women was not right before, and then we didn't have the Olympics. And then now, like, I'm like just checking a lot of boxes. I'm French, the Olympics are in France. I'm a woman. There's many things that are, and for sure, I'm just like a good asset, I guess, for sure. And, yeah, I mean, it's just again, like it's the same approach also that I have in my surfing. I just have a bit of a more like step back, and I'm like, oh, this is how it works. Okay, I get it now. I understand better. And but yeah, in some ways, in myself, I was just more like very genuine and like maybe a bit naive also before. I was just like, well, if I just keep surfing and doing good results, probably some brand's going to be happy about me.
That's interesting that you draw that parallel between, the way that you approach the business side of it and the way that you approach the surfing side of it, because it speaks to quite a lot of humility as well. And we always talk about that, where men's and women's surfers, they come up through the system. Some of them have a ton of hype. Some of them get to the elite level and they fail. And so often it's because they don't have that humility, where you look at surfers like Mick Fanning or Adriano de Souza or, even Carissa Moore. Like, they come to the tour and they go, these are the things that I need to work on. I'm not fully formed yet. I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to get better. And then they do, and then they achieve. I will say, I think you're probably being a little too modest on your convenient asset now, because I actually think that you and your contemporaries, you've actually created the market for you. You guys have elevated not just women's surfing, but surfing as a whole. Surfing is now in the Olympics. Surfing is going to Paris, but it's going to French Polynesia, Teahupo'o. You're from France. Like, you have kind of actualized your own career, and I think it's incredible. That's why I was sort of going off earlier. I'm like, you're so unique in surfing. I love talking to you about this stuff. But
it's true.
Yeah. Oh, go, please.
Sorry, you're right. I don't want to like talk down about it. I think I'm super proud of what I've done, and I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it. Where I come from, you said, geographically, and everything is just a little harder. When you're not from that very great place. Like, even now, I think my flight time is like twice as much as pretty much everybody on tour, because I go all the way back to Reunion Island every time. So it's just like those little things that you just do it, when for the love of it, I guess. It was my dream, and it's still my dreams, and I take it as a dream, but it's also such a opportunity. My parents used to tell me, "Oh, wow, like you can go to the opposite of the world and, surf and learn new languages and stuff." And I feel I just have that in my mind all the time, where I see my parents saying like, "Wow, this is incredible. You're so lucky to do that," So it's still, I just still think it's pretty crazy to do that. And I'm super happy. And I've worked so hard, and now it's just, I just feel like I've planted so many seeds, and then now it's like blossoming. I'm not sure what to say.
No, I love the way you put that. I love it so much. On topics that people love, let's talk about surfboards, something every surfer loves. And you are writing for SharpEye these days. You have been for a period of time. And they're currently, as of recording, second on the Vissla CT Shaper rankings this season. We're in our second season. They desperately needed you in full health last year, and now that you're essentially carrying the SharpEye team, and I know they're happy to have you. But talk to us a little bit about that relationship. The boards look incredible. How did you get started with SharpEye?
Okay, well, so that was a couple of years back, and funny fact, I was writing for Allmericks, and then I just felt I needed a change in my surfing approach, just something like a little bit of excitement. And I was like, okay, I'm going to change a little bit and just try different boards. And then I had one of my coaching friends called Fred Robin. He knew Marcio and Yufu. And he was like, okay, let's just give them a call, and then they can make you like one or two boards. And then I was planning to like call DHD and like JS and everybody, but then I got those two boards, and then I was like, I think it's great. I think it's perfect. I really felt something different, and everybody, you know, like my close people and watching my coach Simo was like my dad, that, you know, the people that knew my surfing, they were like, wow, something is different with these boards. You carry so much more speed and link into your maneuvers. And, you know, I was a little bit I am a back foot surfer, and sometimes like my speed between combos and stuff was a bit just hard to carry and stuff. And with SharpEye, it was just like so much better. And so I just stayed with them. I was like, wow, I'm so happy with that. Are you guys happy? And they were super happy. This helped me straight away. And then COVID happened, I think. So I had even more time to like try the boards out, which was great, because sometimes, you know, between season and stuff, we have not enough time. I mean, now it's like changed, so we have so much more time in the off season. But yeah, the relationship is going well. I really like also, you know, they come from Brazil. They have Latin blood too. So we just kind of like, you know, get each other well. And they've been super supportive. You know, I've never had that much board, and they're making boards for every event pretty much. And no, I just love the way they see things, and they see business, but they also like, I can trust them, I know. And that's always been super important for me. You know, well, even if I'm 30, I understand more business now. I feel like a good trusting relationship is really important, especially for obviously boards. We just can't do anything without surfboards.
I love that story, and Frederick Robin is not only a fantastic coach, he's an amazing surfer as well. Now, not talking about how you came to SharpEye, but I am curious, and I've asked a few CT surfers this, when they are feeling like they want to make a change, and sometimes it's not even that their boards aren't working well, they're like, I've just been on them for so long, I want to feel something different. Or maybe they're not working, and they're like, I need to find something different. How much of the decision to explore a specific shaper goes from someone else on tour is on these boards and they look awesome? How much are the other surfers looking at each other and going, I got to try what that person's trying?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think maybe 2 years before me, Tatiana changed. Also, she was riding for a local shaper in Hawaii, and she changed to SharpEye. And she seemed to be obviously performing so well and surfing so well. And she had that confidence. She was, you can see like they were exchanging, and you know, she had that relationship that was harder for me to get with CI. So it was just, again, I was like, when I started, and then Yufo, the team manager, was just here and really speaking to me and exchanging and getting interest into me and my story and my surfing, and understanding that I'm from Reunion Island again, because it's such a nightmare. I don't live in California. When I do 50 hours of travel, I need to stop 24 hours in LA. I need to rent a car. I need to go grab the boards. There's so much to do to actually get those boards. And they understand that, and they're trying to help as much. And so all those little things was in the deal. I was like, oh, I just want to stay with them. And but yeah, in the girls, obviously Tatiana, but then Felipe, obviously, for the boys, and Kanoa. Also, I think Kanoa just did the move like 1 year before me from CI to SharpEye. So yeah, definitely we are getting inspired by every surfer around us.
I think you're inspiring surfers around you now. So you probably have to tell Yufu to change his number so they don't come calling, because you're going to have to wait longer for your own boards that way. Let's talk about the Olympics. This is an Olympic year. We mentioned it in the upfront. The Olympics will be held this summer at Teahupo'o in Tahiti. And you'll be there representing France. We, the championship tour, will be there for the tour in May, and then you'll go back in August for the Olympics. You recently released episode 1 and 2 of season 2 of your YouTube series with JoJo.
Yay.
Yes, I love it. talking about your training for the Olympics back in January. So you will be well practiced for Tahiti this year. And you mentioned in episode 1, Teahupo'o scares me. I'm not ashamed to say it. A lot of surfers are, but I actually think maybe that's a mistake, because it's good to be open and honest about, like, hey, it scares me. I'm going to deal with that, and I'll be more honest and prepared when it comes.
Yeah, it does. I think it's terrifying. I think Teahupo'o is like definitely terrifying. Just as pipeline and all those waves that we've never been so used to surf. Yet, I would say, for the girls of my generation. So we can feel the changement. We've talked about it so many times already. So now we have those World Cup, those events in those big and heavy wave, and Teahupo'o now, I think it's also from the WSL changing their calendar and putting the girls there that the Olympic were able to actually choose Teahupo'o for the Olympics. And just to come back to Teahupo'o, it's very scary, but I think that is what courage is about. It's like when you're scared, but you just go anyway.
Sure.
And again, I think I take it as a learning, and it's just progression and just all the little thing I'm happy to get, sometimes. And backside barrel, I have a lot of improvement to do technically about it. So there's those two sides of it, which is hard at Teahupo'o for me. I need to get better at my backside barrel, and I need to get better of like engagement and, getting more into those bigger ones. Because all the locals said it, the bigger it is, the easier it gets because it's big. I'm like, oh yeah. If you have shit techniques, just take the big ones. Damn it.
I appreciate that insight for sure. Maybe I'll have to try that at my local spot. But I guess the benefit for someone like you, having grown up in Reunion, and everyone has seen this on the championship tour since your rookie season, your backhand is fantastic. And when you combine that kind of a foundation, working with the French team coach and someone whom you've known for a long time, another Reunion Island surfer, Jeremy Flores, who is one of the best Teahupo'o surfers of all time, he must be a well of insight and knowledge in terms of being able to add that dimension to your own surfing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, obviously, because the Olympics are in France and staff of the French Federation have been really working and giving us, a good panel of different coach. So there is Ira, Fredo, Jeremy, and then I have my personal one, Simon.
Sure.
And so those 4 people have been helping me to find my feet there. And then Jeremy has such a good insight. Hira also from there have such a good insight. And even, you listen to locals, like the guy Mateo that drive our boat is also like one of getting like the best bomb out there. Right, But I think at some point, I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but at some point you can just say that amount of information. If you don't try it yourself, if you don't make the mistake yourself, if you don't get pounded yourself, if you don't catch those waves yourself, then you can't really, you have all the information, you know what it's right to do, but then to actually do it, it's another subject. And I think I'm right at that point where I have all the information but then I need to do it myself. And for that, obviously we need some time, which is hard in surfing because, we finish the season, it's like September, then it's not the season for Teahupo'o anymore, pretty much. And then, I went in December and January to like try to catch some swell. But it's not the South Swell season. So I had, out of 1 month, I had maybe 5 or 6 days of surfing there, which is not so much in 1 month. It's just not the same that any other sport. Surfing is different. And if you want to train at Teahupo'o, you got to be at Teahupo'o pretty much. And we also go around the world to like have our events and stuff. So I think I've done anything I can in my position to try to get better, and I'm really happy of what I've done, and I hope I can get even more wave in May and train better in, the contest situation too, because Teahupo'o, like knowing how to surf Teahupo'o is great and it's amazing, but then after doing it in like 30 minutes in the heat, it's again another thing,
Right.
When you see we've seen Matahi won many times the wildcard and he never won the event, and so it's not all about knowing the wave either. It's like having to know the wave, but then have to do it in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a long process.
Well, you mentioned before, surfing, it's not like other sports. It is often and billed as an individual sport, and that's true, right? You're by yourself in a heat, but you're also representing, we talked about before, your sponsors, or you in particular, representing not only Reunion Island, but France as one of the sole Europeans on tour for years and years. And, I have to ask, like, how have you felt? And now that it's an Olympic year and you have the added platform of the Olympics at Teahupo'o, like, how do you feel representing France on the world stage?
Yeah, it is very special. I don't really think of it often. Sometimes I would do like an interview and then they would ask me the question and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, it's true. Like I'm, the only French girl, the only French male this year also. But it's so humbling. Having that Olympic years too is really bringing us, like we went to Puerto Rico. We were I was with the French team, and then we were fighting for that third spot, to have someone else. It was also same, like a step back to think, okay, I'm going to do that contest, not for myself, because I've got my spot in the Olympics, but I'm going to do it for another French guy or girl. And it was so special, so different. It was really cool. And it's just a way to thanks the country, to thanks, to inspire the younger generation too. I think Olympics really bring that to surfing now. We have to think a little bit more as a country, as a group of person, and not only ourselves. And I like that. I loved my time in Puerto Rico, and I think at the Olympics we lived it in Tokyo already. It's just so much powerful. There's something very powerful about it. Maybe a little bit stressful too, but I can feel, I don't know if it's the same for every country, but I can feel in France that if I'm saying I'm number 2 in the world, or I've just did second in Bells Beach, and they're like, oh, great, good on you, But then you say, I'm going to do the Olympics and represent France, and they're like, wow, you're an Olympian. And they really, there's something more about the Olympics that every single person, the Lambda people, they just understand the level of it.
It makes a ton of sense. It's a huge platform. Well, not only are you a contender on the championship tour and in present the contender for the WSL finals and the world title in 2024, you're also competing in the Olympics for your country, and you are one of the subjects of a documentary produced in partnership with Samsung, which we're going to dive into in our next segment. But first, we're going to take a break to get a word in from our sponsors. We will be right back. All right, we are back. This is the Lineup Podcast. I'm Dave Prodan here with Reunion Islands, Johanne Defay, CT Superstar, 2024 Olympian representing France. Johanne, earlier this year, Samsung announced its introduction of Team Samsung Galaxy, a roster of inspiring athletes and ambassadors from all over the world, which includes John Florence and Jack Robinson and yourself. And it's the official theme for the Olympic and Paralympic Games Paris 2024 is Open Always Wins, which articulates that brand's belief that with an open mind, every new experience becomes a meaningful achievement that opens up new perspectives and infinite possibilities. So what does Samsung's support of you and surfing as a whole mean to you being a part of this team?
Yeah, it's so special. I think being part of Samsung, alongside John and Jack, which are obviously two of the most amazing surfers right now, is special. I just think also having Samsung supporting surfers right now, it's just so cool to see that surfing is getting bigger. I think that's just also what it shows, and what having surfing in the Olympics shows to the world too, is like we're getting bigger. We're getting to a bigger stage as a league, I guess, as surfers. So if everybody just grow and we get just so much more support from brands like Samsung, I think we can just go a long way. And for me, just having Samsung this year is very, very good, because we have a lot of goals, and a lot of pressure on the line, but having people bet on you is just so great,
Well, I'm sure that support is very welcome from you, of course, but they're also getting the advantage of getting to work with you. And as we talked about in the first segment, through your achievements, through your character, through your profile, and through your understanding of business, you are now in a position of agency where you get to pick and choose in a lot of ways which brands you want to collaborate with. So why did you choose to collaborate with Samsung? Of course, the support's nice from them, but you chose to work with them as well. Why did you choose to work with them?
Like you talk about it, also the theme and what they wanted to bring to these Olympic years, and speaking about performances, but also about a different approach, like Open Always Win is speaking about just something that every people have. Like you said, any experience going to give you something, and you're going to be and it's going to open some doors for your next experience. And, you're going to, and I also think that's really aligns with surfing and the community and contest, also the competitiveness of what we do. I think we just, one contest, but then we learn, and then we go to the next one, and then we learn. And I also like to, you have, as competitor, you have to really question yourself a lot. And that's part of having an open mindset, I would say, to be able to be, okay, what do I do? What do I want? How do I get better? How, to go and reach your goal, you have to question yourself. And it's just part of having that mindset. And then traveling the world, meeting new people, new culture. This is so important. I mean, again, if I talk to what I've talked about already, my mom and dad being like, take that opportunity, you travel, you're going to speak new languages and stuff. And I felt like this team of Open Always Win was really matching just, my career, my path. And it was just a good match.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was going to bring it up as well, where you are an elite athlete. You compete at the highest level of your sport. And I think if you look across so many sports, these athletes, that so many of them like things exactly perfect. They're like, I'm 100% regimented. I need this much time to eat, sleep, train. Everything has to be perfect. And if one wrench gets thrown into the works, everything spirals. I do not think that approach would ever be possible in surfing, just because, as you pointed out, you're traveling to different locations. You have to be adaptable. You have to be flexible. And if you're closed off, you're not only going to be having a terrible time, you're just not going to succeed, which is why I think you exemplify the Open Always Wins theme that is so beautiful in this film. If you had to give some advice to either younger or older generations who may be a bit more closed off to trying new things, what would you say to them?
Well, I think it's just I'm gonna join also what I was saying about Teahupo'o. I'm scared. Like we also scared about doing new things, about changing things, like sometimes, and even like, in like mental preparation, we're learning how to create routines to make us feel confident, to make us feel safe. And this is like the routine, the thing that already are safe. And of course, you're scared to go outside of that box.
Right.
But I think it's just so powerful. Like that one day I'm going to get that bomb at Teahupo'o, it's going to feel amazing. And I'm sure if anybody is going to step out of the box and, get a bit more exposure and if you don't try, nobody is going to try for you. So do it for yourself, try, and I'm sure you can be so proud of yourself. And I think that's how your confidence evolve. And that's also something I really want to, I'm so happy to talk about, because I think as women also, I've heard so many women saying, oh no, but that's not for me. Oh no, but that's not for me, sometimes.
Sure.
And, oh no, I'm not surfing. Oh no, I'm not jumping in the water. Oh no, this is too big. This is whatever, And I feel like women really need to just, if you go and you do it, before your brain think, then after you just confident and you're like, wow, I've done it. Perfect. then you can go and then improve a little bit more. But, so yeah, I think you just got to step out of the box.
I love it. As part of this partnership, we mentioned it before, but Samsung is not only partnering with surfing, they're partnering with 3 different leagues in surfing, skating, and breaking in a new 3-part documentary series designed to spotlight and celebrate these communities and their stories on the road to Paris 2024. Tell us about the surf film. Like, have you actually gotten a chance to see it already? And if so, what was it about? What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I actually got the chance to see it. I'm excited to see it actually on the big screen with like a good song. But it's great. I think it's taking surfing really as it is. I think it's funny. Surfing has 2 different sides. There's like that lifestyle, that we're passionate about it, every competitors are gonna still surfing after their career. We're just gonna go in the water every single day, no matter what, pretty much.
Right.
And that is special about surfing. And that's what really, I think Sean Thompson was sharing in the documentary. That was very special. And then there is also, obviously, the story of John and Jack and myself. We come from different countries and we have really different approach and history. John was like the star coming up, and I was, like we said, coming from Reunion Island, nobody knew me. So it is, you can see like where it's like just so different. You can just be coming from anywhere and performing, and I think that's in that documentary. You just really see that, you can be older, you can be younger, you can come from France or from Hawaii and still have that passion about surfing. And that's just how we live it, and that's how we connected.
Yeah, totally. And it's so interesting, those 3 different subjects, right? Because Jack Robinson's from Western Australia, John Florence is from the North Shore of Oahu, you yourself are from Reunion Island. And of course, like coastlines around the world and surfers around the world, they have unique relationships with their own oceans, with their own beaches. Yeah. But these 3 locations, Western Australia, the North Shore of Oahu, and Reunion Island, these are communities that seem so intertwined with the ocean. Is it fair to say that that's explored in the film?
Yeah, that's something. It's I always try to get people to come to Reunion Island for sure, to try. And because when you were speaking about every time someone says, where's your favorite surfing break? And I always say home. I think all the surfers are going to say home. And, but then, yeah, we filmed a little bit in Hawaii, which have a connection to Reunion Island. It's an island, it's a volcanic island, And we have a lot of similarities, maybe a bit less of deep surfing, obviously, history, but
Right.
we have a good same passion for the ocean for sure.
Well, I mean, the deep surfing history is starting with you. So, again, it's a choice on your part. You have so much agency. You choose to work with Samsung. You also chose to participate in this film project. When they approached you with it, what excited you? Why did you say yes to the film project?
I said yes because it's not about performing, which is funny because it's not about performing even in an Olympic year and stuff. And I think it's just so great to not always speak about performance and, what numbers and stuff. We're not like super men's or women's, it's just like we also just humans, and we all have history, and we all like live through emotions, and that's speaking about surfing and having a bigger picture again, that meets the open always wins, like it's just surfing right now. It's great. It's going to the Olympics. It's like really, we are showing that we are more like high level athletes and not only, having that lifestyle, but we coming from that. This is our history. We all were born and raised by the ocean, and we all have those like maybe family moments and memories by the ocean, and we have that connection to the ocean, and speaking about that was very important for me, and yeah, I just love that we're speaking not really about who is first or second or whatever, it's just the ocean, the surfing, the community, and that is special.
And as you said, like surfing is so many different things. It's multi-dimensional. So for you yourself, it's not just that you're a championship tour surfer, you're a free surfer, you're an Olympian, you're all these things. And I think it's so cool. I thought your point about, regardless of whether we're competing or not, we're going surfing. We always say that. It's like, what do professional tennis players do on their days off? Anything but tennis. What do professional surfers do on their days off? They want to go surfing, and they want to be in the ocean, and it's so cool. And in this documentary, you say, I never dreamed of being in the Olympics, but in my little notebooks, I would be writing, I want to be a professional surfer. In 2024, you are now essentially living, and I would argue surpassing your dream as both a professional surfer and Olympian. How does that feel?
It feels great. It feels cool. I think that's also why I can, have that step back. Like I said, it's such a luxury to be able to say I've reached already like some of my goals and dreams that I had as a little kid.
Right.
It's so cool, and I feel so lucky about that. And I just have that feeling of like no matter what happened now, it's just like I've done it and I'm proud of it. And even if there is like some competitive goals that's coming up, and that I still have fire for it, I know if it stopped tomorrow, I'm happy about it and I'm proud of myself. So I think that's special. I think thinking of those little notebooks and stuff, it's so cool because, again, if I see myself when I was young, I was in Reunion Island, and then I had that one DVD about like female surfing called Shimmer, and then Carissa Moore had like a 1 minute part only for her when she was like 12 or something, and I was watching this with my friend Canel at the time, that was also a surfer girl, and it was just so far from me, from where I live, from all of this. So being on tour again, fighting with the best female surfer on the planet, being in the Olympics, being partnering up with some massive brand like Samsung, is just amazing. And I've deserved it because I've worked so much. But if I'm like, okay, 20 years down the line, before I was like, what? Like, you have to step back and you have to realize it, and you have to be so grateful for it. It's important.
I love it, and I cannot wait to watch the film. We've got one more segment. We're going to take one more quick break to get a word in from our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up our conversation with Johanne Defay. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. This is the Lineup Podcast. I am Dave Prodan here with the Championship Tour's Johanne Defay. Johanne, this has been a fantastic conversation. It's been way too long between the last episode and this episode, 4 years. I know obviously we talk frequently, but not on the podcast. So we'll have to fix that moving forward. But 4 years ago, as we said, it was a different world. And the Championship Tour has changed a lot. What are the things you like about the changes, if any? And what are the things you don't like about the changes, if any? I know we've already talked about we need more rippable lefts as a goofy footer. I'm in there for that one for sure. But what are the things that you've enjoyed? What are the things you haven't? I know we've touched on some of them already, but I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, what I do like, to have a bigger off season. To have more time at home and, more time to, kind of do different things, you just have time a little bit, which is great. I like the fact that we don't have to do the double tour, double like QS and Challenger now, and then the city. I think I've done it a little bit when I was younger. Obviously, I haven't done it for a while, but I think that's really important because you can't be everywhere. So I think that's really good for athletes. The cut is difficult.
Sure.
I won't say the opposite. Obviously, I don't say I hate it. I think it's difficult. I think we should have more bigger variety of wave before the cut to be able to showcase, and have the strength of everybody on tour to be able to showcase at least once before the cut. More left, obviously, like you said. I'm just going to say it again because it's important.
We say it as many times as you want.
Exactly. I'm the surfers rep, and obviously we're speaking about it a lot. So all of those questions are bring up to the WSL, and I think after it's also we were speaking about business and stuff.
Sure.
They're trying a lot, but they're trying hard to make all those changement, and it's just hard to listen and change everything at the same time. It's taking time. We need more left.
Totally fair. Well, and what about, I'm curious about this because I've heard different viewpoints, but I've been surprised at how consistent most people answer this question, which is the actual surfing on the championship tour in 2024 compared to the start of your career, men's and women's, all different conditions. Better, worse, about the same? What's been your experience?
Well, I think it's for women's, I think we really reach another level. I think not having Carissa and Steph in the conversation this year, it's obviously a bit different. I think they're still mastering the surfing and the style and stuff. But it's, the younger generation and having those new stop, obviously the bigger wave, it's very impressive. So I think it's just very cool. I think also, seeing Sierra Care making movies, having just different approach. And we just have, I think we're going to have more diversity on how a female surfer is going to be able to make a career, but by surfing, not by selling a bikini, by surfing, by making maybe movie, maybe, it's just going to be maybe a bit different. Maybe some people are going to say, I don't know anyway. But so I think for female surfing is really improving. And for males too, I just think when I got on tour, having all that icon surfer, Fred Patascia, Mick Fanning, and all these there's something different when you watch those surfer when you're like 12, 13 and stuff. And then I met them on tour and everything was just so, wow, impressive.
Right.
And now that you're 30 and then you see like younger boy come, it's just not it doesn't feel the same. It's not as magic, I would say, in my opinion.
I love this
but the
opinion.
surfing
Really,
and the
it's good.
level obviously is there and it's evolving and obviously the airs and stuff, it's crazy, but I don't know, just a good Mick Fanning surfing on the rail, something magical about it.
I love this answer. We talked about it in this episode quite a bit. You're 30 years young. This is 10 years on the championship tour. This is the best season you've ever had, but you're also surfing the best you ever have. How do you view this chapter of your career? Is it the beginning still? Is it the middle? Is it maybe the end of the competitive part? Like, when you arc out the next 5 to 10 years of your life, does it include being on the championship tour that whole time? Or do you have other plans?
Good question. I've definitely, I've been talking about it too. You need to question yourself as a competitor. And that's also a big question, I think, as athletes, that you need to ask yourself, okay, when do I want to finish? When, if you have the luxury to choose, some people, some people don't have, it is what it is. Sometimes the results just don't come anymore or something. So, it's my next chapter. I think that I kind of have a map in my head. I'm not sure when it's going to happen. I know I'm going to have to work after my career anyway, so I'm also studying, I'm at a business school online. So I'm just doing a little bit, planning a little bit just in case, and to be able to, I think, the business side, being an entrepreneur and stuff like that really kind of like take my interest. So I might just go in something like that. I really like to create events also. I've been creating some events in France, about surfing and yoga, like retreats and stuff like that. So that is important for me. And just like managing. So I'm seeing what I can do.
Yep.
There's many different little things. But I don't know how long the competition is gonna still like give me that fire. I think that I still love it. Like when I do it and I put my rashi, I still love it, but I think I'm a competitor, so I don't think I'm gonna get tired of it.
Right.
Anytime. I just think also maybe one time when it's gonna be over, I'm probably gonna be doing some different things, maybe racing, because I'm doing, like some trail running, some bikes and stuff. So I'm like super interested in like just trying like triathlon and stuff like that, which is very different, but just for fun, nothing to be, but I just like that competition things. Because even in different sports, you always just bring the best out of you when you compete, and so yeah, I'm probably going to continue in like some like sports events. But yeah, I'm not sure how long I'm going to do it. I don't have, I think like every year, and that's something that I've learned on tour, like every year we just back to zero. So some people are scared about this, and I think surfers, we just, back to zero every year, and we can just go and try to reach the same goals and being our best at surfing. And if it's something different, because maybe at some point I'm going to be tired of travels. And obviously it did also seeing Carissa getting her retirement, have been questioning myself. I'm a good friend with Carissa.
Sure.
And we spoke about it sometimes, that the travels, and it just doesn't get as exciting exciting as before, you know.
Of course.
We go to the same places and stuff, which is very good because sometimes you get secure. Okay, you know where you're going to stay, you know the wave and stuff. That's cool and secure, but there's not that excitement about like traveling. So yeah, we'll see. I have no really answer for you, but I have that little map. There's all these opportunities maybe, and then maybe I'll go dive into one or two.
It was a good answer. And I think it is the dream tour, but it's still a tour. And whether you're competing or whether you're traveling staff, as I have for a number of years, and I know a lot of other people have, it can be a grind, you know, and that's not just surfing. You see it in the music industry. You see it everywhere. So I think it's a very honest answer. And, but for now, I'm glad we get to watch you on the championship tour because you are surfing better than ever. You're having an incredible season. And before you go, we did put a teaser out to our friends on the Instagram page at the Lineup Pod. We got a bunch of questions back for you, but we've whittled them down to 3. First question is from @Teahupo'o for Megan. Asks, where's one place you'd want to surf that you haven't been?
Good question. Easy one. I've never been to Macaronis in the Mentawais. I really want to go to the Mentawais.
Great answer. Great answer. I'd love to watch you surf macaronis. It'd be amazing. Second question is from @Tom.Northshore. Any tips for a surfer that is transitioning from smaller waves to large ones? It's very nerve-wracking.
Well, I think I've kind of got the answer about Teahupo'o. I think we just all have those feelings, and you just take it like step by step. Just every little wipeout is a win. Just think that wipeout, you get pounded, it's like a little win. You're just going to get more comfortable after.
Great answer. Last question we picked from our followers at the Lineup Pod is from @AvantSurfWax, who asks, besides France, where is the best croissant?
Gosh, you know what? I'm in Margaret River, and I just went to the bakery yesterday morning, and they had a pretty good one.
That's a big endorsement right there. The great answer. Thanks to everyone who wrote in at the Lineup Pod. Before you go, we do have our final segment, which is the lightning round. These are 10 questions for you to answer as quickly as you can. And I have your answers from last time, so I can compare notes on my side. First question. If you can only have one board setup for the rest of your life, single fin, twin fin, thruster, quad bonzer, or finless, which would you choose?
Thruster.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Burrito or pizza?
Pizza.
3 for 3 so far. I hope this isn't the same answer. What is the last book you read?
No, that's not. I'm reading right now L'Animal Sauvage, The Wild Animal, from Joël Dicker. He's a Switzerland writer, and it's a thriller, and it's amazing.
Great recommendation. Best surf film ever?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm going to say the same one, Blue Crush.
It's not the same one.
Same
Last
one?
time you said leave a message, but both are great. Those are great answers. Now we've got 2. What is one wave you never have to go back to?
Oh, I remember I had that feeling. Cabo in Mexico. Oh, maybe I said that already, but I've done in the QS. I said never again. I'm going to go there.
Fair enough. You also added last time, and I'm going to bring it up because you talked about it pretty well in today's episode, but it's just so far to get there from Reunion Island and so expensive. And yes, that's rough. Okay.
Well, I would remember forever. Oh, sorry.
No, go, please.
No, I will remember when I said I done that first round on the QS after like all this travel and stuff, and then I got that little envelope with like $150 cash, and I was like, wow. Okay, just go back and never come back.
Well, lesson learned. If you can only surf one wave for the rest of your life, you can dreamcast it. It can be perfect conditions, just you, your friends, whatever. But what wave would it be?
Wow. Let's say Teahupo'o.
Okay, I like it. It was J
Yeah,
Bay J Bay last time,
too.
but I like this answer.
Yeah.
It's good. Forward thinking. We love it. Best person to share a lineup with.
My hubby, my husband.
Okay, that's an update. Last time it was Bianca, but I respect it. Husband gets in there. Apologies, Bianca, but that makes sense. Worst person to share a lineup with.
That's hard. Maybe an uncle with like a really big board that just take every single wave.
Good answer. Very fair. Last one. Finish this sentence. I will next achieve a state of happiness by.
Wow, that's hard. I thought of winning Margaret River.
Great answer. Johanne Defay, thank you so much for coming back on the lineup. It will not be as long between now and the next time you come back on, at least if I get my way.
Okay.
Congratulations on an amazing career, an amazing season so far. Can't wait to see what you do in the rest of the CT events. Can't wait to see what you do in the Olympics, and really looking forward to watching your Samsung documentary. And thanks just for being an awesome person.
Thank you so much, Dave.